Cities can act as test beds to address long-standing questions in evolution. The different populations of the same species evolve in similar ways when faced with the same environmental pressures, and do different species in the same locations evolve similar characteristics? As globalization increases, many cultures all around the world have been forced to interact, making them start to blend together. One prominent example of this is the clash of Muslim culture with Westernized culture, primarily in the United States, as the population of Muslim immigrants has greatly increased over the past century. Good morning, my name is Amani Akram, and this leads us to the research question. To what extent has globalization in the 21st century impacted the rates of Muslim culture in the United States? Although much Muslim culture has been preserved in the United States in the past century, it has shown that there has been an overall decrease in the amount of Islamic culture outputted by Muslims in the U.S. Religious factors lost have made themselves present in social and economic factors. Muslim immigrants have had to adapt to an environment and culture the complete opposite of their home, testing the resilience of Muslim culture. Resilience is defined by the Harvard Business Review as the capacity to adapt to stressful circumstances and to bounce back from adverse events. Muslims have been placed in stressful circumstances by being put in an environment that isn't habitable for their religion, and have had to face adverse events by facing religious and racial discrimination. Due to this, it is questioned how much resilience have Muslims in the U.S. shown to preserve their religious and cultural values. Social factors such as peers, government, and environment, etc., have big impacts on the preservation of culture. Islamophobia and discrimination that Muslims receive can cause them to decrease the amount that they practice and show their religion. Muslims have received a hefty amount of racial and religious discrimination, specifically women who are required to make their religious faith very visual. Muslim women show to receive much greater rates of racial, religious, and gender discrimination than women in general due to their religious beliefs. This can cause Muslim women to do things like stop wearing the hijab in order to decrease the amount of discrimination they receive. They can achieve this by making their religious faith less physical and visual. The physical health of Muslims is also put at risk when facing discrimination. In 2001, the tragic events of 9/11 caused Americans to develop a strong and violent stigma against Muslims. This has caused the rates of Islamophobic attacks to spike in 2001. The rates of violence against Muslims has steadily stayed much higher than before the events of 9/11, and have also spiked again in 2015 and 2016 with 127 anti-Muslim assaults in the US. Some of the biggest corporations in the United States have also shown to support Islamophobic tendencies by supporting anti-Muslim hate groups and other conservative corporations. Over the course of many years, Amway has donated $25 million to the Young Americans Foundation, which is a conservative organization filled with anti-Muslim speakers. Other big corporations have also donated to anti-Muslim politicians to make a profit from the war and horrible conditions in Muslim countries. All of these corporations have shown Islamophobic tendencies. Economic factors may also be something that hinders the presence of Muslims in the United States. In this graph by Pew Research Studies, it is shown that Muslims have the highest rates of low-income households and have the lowest rates of incomes over $100,000 or more yearly income. Religious factors lost. Praying 5 times a day, being one of the 5 pillars of Islam, is one of the first things to decrease in Muslims in the US. As Muslims work throughout the day and live a lifestyle that doesn't support a praying schedule, praying 5 times a day isn't something that they are able to prioritize as much as they should. Jobs, peers, and social life are all things that hinder Muslim Americans' ability to prioritize a schedule where they are able to pray 5 times a day. During the month of Ramadan, many factors lead to Muslims not being able to fast as much as they should. Eating locations being everywhere, vigorous working jobs, everyone and their peers around them eating, and judgment from non-Muslims cause them to not be able to fast as much as they should. A study conducted to measure the amount that Muslims go to the mosque shows that more than half of Muslims say that they rarely go. The mosque is supposed to be a safe and sacred religious temple for Muslims. This may be due to the fact that most Muslims in the US aren't able to live a lifestyle that allows them to prioritize going to the mosque as much as they should. Of course, with such a large Muslim population, there has been some preservation of Muslim culture in the United States that shouldn't be overlooked. Muslims have built mosques in the country to provide a safe and religious place to perform prayers and hold religious events. There has also been developments of many Muslim organizations for Muslim American communities like Islamic Relief USA and Muslims for Progressive Values. These have made it easier for Muslims to integrate into American society and adapt to these different conditions. Studies have also shown that American Muslims are the most likely to hold a high regard and priority to their religion. In conclusion, although Muslims have shown cultural preservation by building communities and mosques in the US to integrate into American society, social factors have caused a greater majority of religious values and factors to be decreased and lost. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I have two questions. First question. How did you handle differing perspectives as you went through your research?
So my last perspective was kind of like, I had to show that there has been Muslim preservation, but it doesn't compare to the amount that has been lost. So it supports my argument by showing that there has been an overall decrease in culture.
All right, and what additional questions came up as you were going through this process?
Additional questions like, how has healthcare discrimination caused Muslim Americans or how have Muslim Americans faced healthcare discrimination due to their religious faith?